Tantra, Volume 2, The Book of the Secrets, a new commentary. Discourse number 11, given in Bombay, India.
Once, Dr. Charles Eliot, a very well-known historian and an eminent scholar, was staying in a small village. The old postmaster of the village, became curious about this old man, Dr. Beard. He was curious to know what kind of doctor he is. So one day he asked, "What kind of doctor do you are, sir?" Dr. Beard said, "Doctor of philosophy." The old man had never heard about. He was puzzled, and he said, "But I have never heard of any case of this disease here." Don't laugh about it, because the old postmaster was right in a way. Philosophy is a kind of disease. Of course, doctors of philosophy are not doctors. Rather, they are the perfect victims of the disease. Philosophy is not a specific disease. So you cannot think of it in terms of cases. It is born with the human being. It is as old as humanity, our human mind. And every human being is a victim, more or less. Because thinking leads nowhere, or it leads you in circles, vicious circles. You move much, and if you are expert, you can move fast, but you reach nowhere. This has to be understood very deeply, because if you cannot understand and feel this, you cannot take a jump into meditation. Meditation means a very anti-approach, anti to philosophy. Philosophy means thinking, and meditation means a state of non-thinking. They are polar opposites. This is just human, to think about questions and to try to find out answers. But philosophy comes to no answers. Science comes to certain answers. Religion comes to certain answers. But philosophy comes to no answers. And all the answers that philosophy appears to come are just faces. If you dig deep in them, you will find more questions than nothing else. So every answer leads to more questions. And this goes on and on. Science comes to certain answers, because science depends not on thinking, but on experiment. Thinking is used as a help only, but the base is experimentation. That's why science comes to certain answers. Only these past 3 centuries, science has given some answers. Philosophy has been working for centuries, known and unknown, but not a single answer, not a single conclusion has been achieved. It cannot be achieved. The very nature of thinking is such. If you use thinking as a help towards experimentation, something can be achieved. Science comes to certain answers, that's why. The religion also comes to certain answers, because the religion is also experimentation. Science experiments with the objects, religion experiments with the subjects. But both are experimentations, and both are experiments. Between these two is philosophy, just pure thinking, abstract thinking, with no experiments. You can go on, you can spin on, but you reach nowhere. Abstract thinking is speculative thinking, is thinking ad infinitum. You can enjoy it. You can enjoy the journey, but there is no goal. Religion and science are similar in a way. Both believe in experiment. Religious experiment is of course deeper than science, because in this, the experimenter himself is not involved. He is working with tools, working with things, working with objects. He remains aloof. He remains out of the experiment. Religion is a deeper science, because the experimenter himself becomes the experiment. There are no tools which are apart him, no objects which are outside him. He is both. His tools, his objects, his methods, he is everything. And he has to work upon himself. It is arduous. Because you are involved, it is arduous. And because you are involved, experiment will become experience. In science, the experiment will remain experiment. The scientist will not be touched by it, will not be transformed by it. The scientist will remain the same. But in religion, passing through the experiment, you will be a different man altogether. You cannot come out the same. You are bound to change. That's why religious experiment becomes experience. But remember this, you can go on thinking about God, about soul, about the other world. And you may come to a make-believe that you know something about God, just by thinking about it. That will be false. You cannot know anything about God. The word about is absurd. You can know God, but you cannot know about. That about creates the philosophy. How can you know about God? Or, for example, how can you know about love? You can know love, You cannot know about love. Because about means someone else knows, and you believe in his knowledge. So you collect and gather opinions. You say, I know something about God. The knowledge which is about is false, dangerous, because you can be deluded in it. You can know God. You can know love. You can know yourself. But forget that about. That about is philosophy. Upanishad says something. Vedas says something. Bible says something. Quran says something. But for you, all that will become about. Unless it becomes your experience, it is futile. Wastage. This point must go deep in you. Because you can go and think it. And the mind is such that you can start thinking about meditation. You can make anything object for meditation, for thinking. Even about meditation, you can think. And you go on thinking about it, nothing will happen. I'm talking about so many methods. There is a danger. You may start thinking about these methods. You may become knowledgeable. That won't do. That is of no use. Not only it is of no use, it is dangerous. Because meditation is experience. Note is worthless. Remember this word experience. Life's problems, all the problems of life, are existential. They are not speculative. You cannot solve them by thinking. You can solve them only by living them. Through living, the future opens. Through thinking, the future never opens. On the contrary, even the present closes. You may not have observed, whenever you think, what happens? Whenever you think, you are closed. All that is present drops. You move in a dream path in your mind. One word creates another, one thought creates another, and you go on moving. The more you move in thinking, the far away you go from existence. Thinking is a way to go away. It is a dream way. It is dreaming in concepts. Come back to the earth. Religion is very earthly in this sense. Not worldly, but very earthly, substantial. Come back to existence. Life's problems can be solved only when you become deeply rooted. Flying in thoughts, you move away from the roots. And the more away you are, the less is the possibility to solve anything. Rather, you will confuse everything. And everything will become more entangled. And the more entangled, the more you will think. And the more far away you will move. Beware of thinking. Now we will enter into the techniques. First technique. In rain, during a black night, enter that blackness as a form of forms. You may not have heard. There has been one very old esoteric school. The school was known as the School of Essenes. Jesus was taught in that school. He belonged to the Essenes group. That Essenes group is the only group all over the world who thinks God as absolute darkness. Quran says God is light. Upanishads say God is light. Bible says God is light. Only the Essenes group, the only tradition in the world, says that God is absolute blackness, absolute darkness. Just an infinite black night. It's very beautiful. It's strange, but very beautiful and very meaningful. You must understand the meaning, and these techniques will be helpful, because this is the technique used by the Essenes to enter darkness, to become one with it. Reflect on why everywhere God has been symbolized as light. Not because that God is light, but because man is afraid of darkness. This is human fear. We like light, and we are afraid of dark. So we cannot conceive God as darkness, as blackness. This is a human conception. We conceive God as light, because we are afraid of darkness. Our gods are created out of our fear. We give them shape and form. That shape and form is given by us. It shows something about us, not about our gods. They are our creations. We are afraid in darkness. So God is light. But these techniques belong to the other school. Essenes say that God is darkness, and they have something in it. For one thing, darkness is eternal. Light comes and goes, and darkness remains. In the morning, the sun will rise, and there will be light. In the evening, the sun will set, and there will be darkness. For darkness, nothing will rise. It is always there. It never rises and never sets. Light comes and goes, darkness remains. Light has always some source. Darkness is without source. That which has some source cannot be infinite. Only that which is sourceless can be infinite and eternal. Light has a certain disturbance. That's why you cannot sleep in light. It creates a tension. Darkness is relaxation, total relaxation. But why we are afraid of darkness? Because light appears to us as life. It is. And darkness appears to be death. It is. Life comes through light. And when you die, it appears you have fallen into eternal darkness. That's why we paint death as black. And black has become a color for mourning. God is light and death is black. But these are our fears projected. Actually, darkness has infinity. Light is limited. Darkness seems to the womb, out of which everything arises into it. Epiphanius took this distant point. Very beautiful and very helpful also. Because if you can love darkness, you will become unafraid of death. If you can enter into darkness, and you can enter only when there is no fear, you will achieve total relaxation. If you can become one with darkness, you are dissolved. It is a surrender. Now there is no fear. Because if you can become one with darkness, you have become one with death. You cannot die now. You have to be deathless. Darkness is deathless. Light is born and dies. Deathless simply is. It is deathless. For these techniques, first you will have to remember that there should be no fear in your mind about darkness, about blackness. Otherwise, how can you do this experiment? So first, the fear must be dropped. So do one thing as a preliminary step. Sit in darkness. Put out the lights. Feel darkness. Have a loving attitude towards it. Allow the darkness to touch you. Look at it. Open your eyes in a dark room or in a dark night. Have a communion. Be together. Imbibe a relationship. You will become afraid. Then these techniques cannot be of any help. You cannot do them. So first, a deep friendship with darkness is needed. Sometimes in the night, when everyone has gone to sleep, remain with the darkness. Don't do anything. Just remain with it. And just remaining with it will give you a deep feeling towards it. Because it is relaxing. You have not known it. Simply because of the fear, if you are not feeling sleepy, you will put on the light immediately. You will start reading or doing something. But you will not remain with the darkness. Remain with it. If you can remain with it, you will have new openings, new contexts with it. Man has clothed himself completely against darkness. There were reasons, historical reasons. Because the night was very dangerous. And man was in the caves or in the jungles. In the day, he was more secure. He could see all around. No wild animal could... he could make some arrangements, some defense. At least he could escape. But in the night, everywhere was darkness. And he was helpless. So he became afraid. And that fear has gone into the unconscious. Still, we are afraid. We are not living in caves now. And we are not at the mercy of wild animals. No one is going to attack you. But the fear is there. It has gone deep. Because for millions of years, human mind was afraid. Your unconscious is not your own. It is collective. It is hereditary. It has come down to you. The fear is there. And because of that fear, you can have no communion with darkness. One thing more, because of this fear, men started to worship fire. When fire was invented, the fire became a god. Not because the fire is a god, but because of the fear of darkness. In the day, there was light and no fear. Man was more protected. In the night, there was darkness. So when fire was invented, of course, fire became a god. The greatest. The Parsis go on still worshipping fire. The worship of fire came into being because of the fear of darkness. In the night, fire became the friend, the protector, the divine security. That fear is still there. You may not be aware of it, because no situations are there in which you become aware. But one day, put off the light in the night and sit, and the primitive fear will come to you. In your own house, you will start feeling some wild animals are around. Some noise will come, and you will become afraid of wild animals. Some danger is around. That danger is not around, that is in your unconscious. So first, you have to come over with your unconscious fear. Then you can enter these techniques, because these techniques are concerned with darkness. And Shiva is giving all the techniques that are possible. My own experience about these techniques is very beautiful. If you can do them, they are wonderful. You will enter such deep relaxation that you have not known at all. But first, uncover your unconscious fears and try to live and love darkness. It is very blissful. Once you know, and once you are in contact with it, you are in contact with a very deep cosmic phenomenon. So whenever you have opportunity to be in dark and awake, because you can do two things, either you will put on the light or you will go to sleep. Both are the tricks to escape the darkness. If you are asleep, then you are not afraid, because you are not conscious. Or if you are conscious, then you will put on the light. Don't put on the light and don't go to sleep. Remain with darkness. Many fears will be felt. Feel them. Be aware of them. Bring them to your conscience. They will come by themselves. And as they come, you remain just a witness. They will disappear. And very soon a day will come. You can be in darkness with total surrender, with no fear. With a total let go, you can be in darkness. Then a very beautiful phenomenon happens. Then you can appreciate the saying of Athenians that God is darkness, absolute darkness. In rain, during a black night, enter that blackness as the form of forms. All forms arise out of darkness and dissolve into darkness. Worlds come, earths are created out of darkness and they fall back into darkness. Darkness is the womb, the cosmic womb, the undisturbed, the absolute stillness is there. Shiva says, it will be good in a rainy night when everything is black. Clouds are there and no stars can be seen. The sky is completely dark. In a black night, when there is no moon, enter that blackness as the form of forms. Be a witness to that blackness and then dissolve yourself into it. It is the form of all forms. You are a form. You can dissolve into it. When there is light, you are defined. I can see you. The light is there. Your body has a definition. You are defined. You have boundaries. Boundaries exist because of the light. When the light is not there, boundaries are dissolved. In blackness, nothing is defined. Everything merges into every other thing. Forms disappear. That may be one of the causes of our fear, because then we are not defined, and we don't know who we are. The face cannot be seen. The body cannot be known. Everything has merged into a formless existence. That may be one of the causes of fear, because we cannot feel our defined existence. Existence has become vague, and fear enters, because you don't know now who you are. The ego cannot exist undefined. It is difficult to exist. As an ego, one feels afraid. One wants light to be there. Contemplating, meditating, merging. It will be easy to merge into darkness than to merge into light. Because light gives distinctions. Darkness takes away all distinctions. In the light you are beautiful or ugly, rich or poor. The light gives you a personality, a distinction. Educated, uneducated. Saint or sinner. The light reveals you as a distinct person. Darkness envelops you, accepts you, not as a distinct person. Simply accepts you without any definition. You are enveloped and you become one. The darkness is doing it always, but because you are afraid, you cannot understand it. Put aside your fear and become one. Enter that blackness of all forms. Enter that blackness. How you can enter blackness? Three things. One, stare into blackness. Difficult. Easy to stare at a flame, at any source of light, because it is there as an object. Point it. You can direct your attention to it. Darkness is not an object. It is everywhere. It is all around. You cannot see it as an object. Stare into the vacuum. All around it is there. You just look into it. Feel at ease and look at it. It will start entering your eyes. And when the darkness enters your eyes, you are entering into it. So remain with open eyes when doing this technique into dark night. Don't close your eyes. Because with closed eyes, you have a different darkness. That is your own, mental. It is not real. It is not real. Really, it is a negative part. It is not positive darkness. Here is light. You close your eyes, you can have a darkness, but that darkness is simply the negative of the light. Just as you look at the window, and when you close the eyes, you have a negative figure of the window. Our all experience is of light. So when we close our eyes, we have a negative experience of light, which we call darkness, which is not real. It won't do. Open your eyes, remain with open eyes in darkness. You will have a different darkness, the positive darkness that is there. Stare into it. Go on staring into darkness. Your tears will start. Your eyes will they will hurt. Don't get worried. Just go on. And the moment the darkness, the real darkness which is there, enters in your eyes, it will give you a very deep, soothing feeling. And when real darkness enters in you, you will be filled by it. And this entering of darkness will empty you of all negative darkness. This is a very deep phenomenon. The darkness that you have within is a negative thing. It is against the light. It is not the absence of light. It is against the light. It is not the darkness Shiva is speaking as a form of all forms. The real darkness that's there. We are so afraid of it that we have created many sources of light just as protection. And we live in a lighted world. Then we close the eyes and the lighted world reflects negatively inside. We have lost contact with the real darkness that is there. The darkness of the Isinis, or the darkness of Shiva, We have no contact with it. We became so much afraid of it that we have turned ourselves completely away. We are standing with our backs to it. So this will be difficult, but if you can do it, it is miraculous. It is magical. You will have a different being altogether. When darkness enters you, you enter into it. It is always reciprocal, mutual. You cannot enter into any cosmic phenomena without the cosmic phenomena in you. You cannot rape it. You cannot force any entry. If you are available, open, vulnerable, and if you give way for any cosmic reality to enter in you, then only you will enter into it. It is always mutual. You cannot force. You can only allow it. It is difficult to find real darkness in cities now. Difficult in our houses to find real darkness. With the unreal light, we have made everything unreal. Even our darkness is polluted. It is not pure. To move to some remote place only to feel darkness. Just to go to a very remote village where there is no electricity. Or to move to a mountain peak. Just to be there for 1 week to experience pure darkness. You will come back a different man. Because in those 7 days of absolute darkness, all the fears, all the primitive fears will come up. You will have to face monsters. You will have to face your own unconscious. The whole humanity will, as you are passing through the whole passage, man has passed. And deep from your unconscious, many things will arise. They will look real. You may get afraid, scared. They will be so real. And they are just your mental creations. Many madmen in our mad films are suffering not from anything else, but just primitive fears inside them have erupted. They are there. They are afraid, scared every moment of their life. And we don't know yet. Allow those primitive fears to get evaporated. If madmen can be helped to meditate on darkness, madness will disappear.